Hi, 52 degrees north here. Today we're talking about figs, Ficus Carica, the common fig, growing figs in the UK and what it entails, what I've learned and what we can expect outdoors in the UK and what we can do if we can extend our season as well. Here we have a variety called brown turkey, and this is going to be my only in-ground fully outdoor fig. For reasons for that we'll explain later on. We can see that it's got some main crop figs on there that will never develop, never ripen, unfortunately. We've had the bravers off this fig. This fig variety is a great Braber fig, which is a first crop fig for the UK. It's a great variety. That's the shape of its leaves. All different common figs will have different shaped leaves. This is the basic shape of that, and they don't need pollination. They're a strange sort of, this is the flower slash fruit, and that's gone through the first swelling. It will sit like that for 30 days. It might swell a little bit more, but then it'll get too cold after that. There's a possibility we might get something off this one, but I don't know, the sap's going to get cut off shortly. So that's the brown turkey, and I'll take you to the other figs that I've got. Here we have some of the other figs in my collection. Here we have the Pedro in front of me. Never produced any figs for me, doesn't show any signs of producing figs for me. Pedro is not the fig for me. I won't be keeping this one. The one behind it is Vilet de Coufte. It's from Hungary, I believe, and it's produced, or is formulated, Braber crop for me for next year. So we're keeping this one, see what it tastes like. The Vilet de Coufte is staying, the Pedro is going. Down here we have a series of figlets, I suppose that's what you call them, seedlings that I've grown from a store-bought fruit, and the purpose for this is that I want to find a capri fig to caprify. That's the process of pollination, other figs, and the reason for that is that when you caprify a fig, it's sweeter, it's plumper, it's juicier. Behind the little figs we have a variety called Ice. Now this one didn't produce Braber for me. It didn't really have time to produce Braber because I got it late on last year. All of these I got late on last year, but it has tried to produce some main crop for me. So this one's staying. I want to try and see what the fruit tastes like, although I don't think it's the fig for me. The one next to it is called the Scone. Now the Scone is a story of disappointment. It did have Braber crop on it, it dropped the Braber crop. It did have main crop on it, and it's dropped most of the main crop. It does have a couple of figs there. It has a fig there as well, but it was given a lot of polytunnel time, a lot of good heat, energy and nutrients went into it, and unfortunately it dropped all its figs. If it does the same thing next year, I'm afraid it needs to go from the collection. Here we have a fig that was sold to me as brown turkey. It was in ground on the east side of the property for 2 years. It never produced any figs, never showed any promise of producing figs. I dug it up, I put it into a pot, I pot bound it. I've given it good nutrients. It's grown lots of leaves but no fruit, so this one is going. This is called the Nord de Boulogne. This is a very young cutting for me, although the cutting itself is very old. This is 1, 2, 3. This is 4-year-old wood that does have a fig on it, but it's only a foot long. It's very thin caliper, slow growing. And what I was waiting for was a sucker to come up from the roots. I'll cut this out, leaving this sucker lots of healthy, fresh new growth, and it will produce lots of vigorous growth. Hopefully get some figs off the Norderbolone next year. Inside here we have the Rouge de Bordeaux. Now the Rouge de Bordeaux is a fig that I'll be keeping because just look at it, it's bountiful. I've only had this cutting the same time that I've had the Norderbolone, and to be fair to the Rouge de Bordeaux, I think it was a healthier plant when I got it, but look at it, it's just absolutely laden with fruit. It's in the polytunnel now because I want to see if we can get some fruit off it this year. I think this one is a keeper. From it's showing promise anyway. In the polytunnel, deep in the polytunnel here, we have the Norderbolone. Sorry, the contrast there. These are the main crop figs here. They take about 80 days to ripen. The reason that this one is in the polytunnel, it doesn't have to be in the polytunnel, the reason it is in the polytunnel is because we have tertiary figs, a third crop of figs that have been formulated on the second growth, because the Braber crop, which we did have Braber crop off this, was on this wood. Then the main crop would have been on this wood, and the third crop, because we pinched just here, this is all new growth, and this is all the third crop of figs, and this has a raspberry sort of taste, raspberry jam sort of taste, absolutely delicious sort of fig. And then the other one that we have in here is a Madeleine des du Sasson, the Madeleine of 2 seasons, and she's living up to her expectation by trying to produce main crop figs. The reason that this is in the polytunnel is that this was a very young cutting, and I want to try the figs on the Madeleine des du Sasson. I want to see whether I enjoy the figs on this variety. I've heard they're good. I do believe though that the #1 standout for the UK climate is the Ronde Bordeaux. So just quickly, how I grow my figs in the UK. I put my figs in the polytunnel at about February, and then they start to wake up end of February, March sort of time. They'll grow in there until mid-April, May. Then they get brought out of the polytunnel, put in this sort of general area. Then they are left outside for a length of time till I can see the formulation of the figlets in the leaf axils, until I can see embryonic figs being produced. I can't see any here to show you until you see these little lumps. There we go. So you see these little lumps in the leaf axils here being produced because they need extra light. They get extra light outside the polytunnel. Once that happens, we bring them back into the polytunnel to swell those embryonic fruit because they need extra heat. So once they've had time in the polytunnel to wake up in the early spring, we bring them out. And that then formulates the fruit with extra light. Then we bring them back into the polytunnel to swell the fruit. Once the fruit starts to swell and the weather is then usually warmer towards sort of June sort of time, they can be brought out and we can have fruit. Well, that's the idea, and that's the basic how I try or attempt to grow figs in the UK.